But what we're saying is that the movement can't stop on March 4th. There needs to be a plan delivered to students on that date, before that date, to escalate the movement beyond March 4th. There needs to be a momentum built. These kinds of things, yes, you've got an intense moment of anger. There's an opportunity right now. But if you wait too long, if you don't provide students with a plan, then that opportunity can be missed. And actually, I think 2019 is an example of that. Again, a very similar situation.
Cuts to OSAP, yeah.
Cuts to OSAP, quite significant cuts to OSAP. A similar mood of intense anger. You could feel it. You know, on the day of the strike, you know, we set up picket lines. We ended up organizing a demonstration. Some classes were canceled, although it wasn't fully successful. A lot of students still went to class. It did spread to other campuses. I remember OCAD was effectively shut down. I would also add that at OCAD, and this was the thing that made all of the difference, and the reason why that strike was a bit more successful, is that the student union was fully on board from the beginning, and the result was a very successful demonstration. At Ryerson, it was a bit of a different situation, because the student union, from the beginning, was incredibly hostile to the idea of a strike. The efforts to organize a one-day student strike were effectively sabotaged, and the result was that on the day, it was essentially just us leading the initiative, which is why it ended up being very small and not shutting down the university. But again, the lesson here, I think, is, well, there's two lessons. One is that a small group like ours cannot by ourselves organize a student strike. And I say this too because we have, a lot of well-intentioned activists who are, share the same frustrations we do with these student union leaders. And they say, well, forget them. Let's just go ahead and do it ourselves. I think that would be a serious mistake. And, I say that because we went through that experience and learned lessons from that experience. And the second lesson is that the student union leaders have a very, very important role to play in making these kinds of initiatives and the strike possible. They have the resources, they have the connections, and they have the authority as the elected leaders of the student union body. That's why this time we're calling on them. Listen, you have to do this. Nobody else but you can actually make this a reality. Now, of course, that doesn't mean it happens overnight, but you have to announce your intentions. Get the ball rolling as soon as possible. Otherwise, that momentum can be lost.
Yeah, so I think